Ladies, gentlemen, we're going to do something a little bit different. Watch what I do here. We're going to start a new GPT chat. See, it's the beginning. Haven't said nothing to the system. I'm about to prove something that the rest of you all need to understand. Pay attention. Since 1999, I was made aware that the First Amendment contains a phrase, individuals have the right to petition government, no matter which branch of government, for a redress of grievances. Do you know this implies a mandatory duty? Now, it's going to tell me, no, it doesn't imply a mandatory duty. I'm going to prove to you that it does. It's only one word that makes it mandatory. Since 1999, I've made this blah, blah, blah. The First Amendment creates a mandatory duty of government to receive petitions and forbids government from punishing individuals from obstructing. Now, he said to receive. So it's a mandatory duty that they receive the petition. Okay? Okay, that's a mandatory duty. No, that's not the mandatory duty that they receive it. That is a requirement, but there is a mandatory duty that they act if they have the capabilities of acting and a responsibility to act. I haven't told you the mandatory part yet. Just explaining that when they act, this is the reason for their acting. The First Amendment right to petition imposes a mandatory duty on government response and action when government possesses the lawful authority. Congress record citation. The debate's first Congress shows that the petition clause was adopted to require government not merely to receive petitions, but to ensure responsiveness. So I'm actually glad I got that answer, because I've never read that answer before, never had that answer before. But let me give you the mandatory provision. Let's all share it together. Yes, but that's not the mandatory language. See, redress means to correct the wrongs. So that implies a duty, because the word redress means to correct the wrongs, but the mandatory word is for, F-O-R. How is this a mandatory word? Well, the Constitution says Congress shall make no law abridging the right of the people to petition government for a redress of grievance. The word for implies not simply the right to petition, which comes from the common law right to petition act of England, but for a redress, for a correction of the wrongs. So redress means to correct the wrong. The individual is petitioning for that correction of the wrong. If there is a duty of government and a responsibility of government, then that implies action. So it is a mandatory, when there is a duty to act, obligation to act. He will agree with me. I've never put this before the system before. Now, been thinking about it all morning, but I have not put it before the system because I'm working on some other things, because we got the petition getting ready to be sent off, and I have some instructions for some of you if you want to help me. Won't be talking about that now. I'll be talking about it a little bit later. Pay attention. The word for in the First Amendment operates as a mandatory legal language. It is not permissive language because it grammatically, the context, and constitutionally creates a required governmental objective, redress, meaning correction of the wrongs. Now, many of you may not have picked up on it, but let me tell you, Mr. Richard Fuller said, I have something I want to show you, and I know once I show it to you, you'll do something with this. I've been talking about redress ever since I found this out. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Congress shall make no law abridging. Now, there are words in between, but we don't care about them words. The right of the people, we don't care about the words in between, to petition government for a redress of grievance. See, it's not just the right to petition government. Anybody can petition, and that's what Congress says. However, for a redress, there is a purpose for the petition, and redress implies to correct a wrong or compensation or restitution. So if they have the authority and the delegated power, they must act. They cannot ignore a petition because there can't be a law against it. Congress said, now watch this, in 1973, the United States Senate Committee on the Termination of National Emergencies admitted before the entire world that Congress had deliberately and intentionally infringed and abridged the rights of the people in a host of all-encompassing manners by putting into force 470 plus laws that violate their rights. And then Congress confirmed this finding as an entire Congress in 1976 with the enactment of the National Emergency Act. Now, it doesn't matter what other acts they've committed and activated and whatever, they admitted that they violated the people's rights. And because they didn't take away the main provisions being discussed, they're continuing to violate the people's rights. Congress admitted formally, publicly, in a binding federal record that they abridged your rights. For the past 40 years, 470 laws, all powers and authorities passed on to the president, and statute at large citation National Emergency Act, and the Constitution of the United States is the law for rulers and the people. There are no rulers. There are no rulers in the United States. Rebuttal to the presumptions to the contrary. Ta-da! All right, I got to go. I just wanted to show you what that one simple word, for, does to that particular constitutional amendment. Riva me dirty.